So when we were talking about ethics, you had also mentioned multiple relationships.
Yes.
And one of the questions that I get a lot from clinicians is it okay for me to accept a request from a client on a site such as LinkedIn? Because I'm only there as a professional. You know, I have a professional account on LinkedIn, and there's nothing on my profile that I wouldn't want people to see. And so here's a place where this is a great question, because, you know, this is a little different from maybe your Facebook profile where you have pictures of your family vacation and what you like and dislike. But what I try to remind people about is that LinkedIn is a site where people tend to browse your list of contacts, see if there's anyone on that list who they want to make a professional connection with. They may be asking you to make an introduction. So you might find yourself, if you accept a request for a contact from a client or former client on LinkedIn, having them look at your contacts and say, hey, can you recommend me for a job at this person's company? Or you might have someone who is your contact saying, I want to get a job at this person's company, and it's your client. You know, so this is a place where we can find ourselves getting kind of caught in a multiple role with somebody. And also bear in mind that when we give clients access to our networks in this way, depending on how your privacy settings are set up, they may have access to all of these other people in our lives. Some people have family members as contacts on LinkedIn. So, you know, that's a way that the multiple role issue can get raised very innocently by accepting a contact request on a site like that.
Okay, that is so great. So would now be the right time for you to tell us what we should put in our social media policy?
Sure.
So this would be part of the informed consent, is that right?
This is part of the informed consent in my practice. It's just, you know, I have, the way it's set up for me right now is I have my general policies, and then I added a social media policy. And I, you know, one thing I want to say is I have a long social media policy. I also have an extensive social media presence. Some people may not need a long social media policy. Some people may just need a paragraph. So I'm not advocating for people writing 5-page policies that their clients have to read. You know, I think you have to tailor it to what makes sense for what you do on the internet and what your concerns are with your clients. My own social media policy talks about my being on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. It talks about whether I will accept contact requests from clients, which I don't. On sites like Twitter, where I don't have to actually confirm the request, I'm a little more flexible now because I have so many people following me on Twitter. It's hard to keep track of who has added me. You know, back when there were 10 people following me on Twitter, if I noticed if a client followed me, it was quite obvious. Now it's like, and I was concerned about their privacy, but now I feel like if I can't even figure out if a client is following me, you know, maybe other people aren't taking the time to, you know, sit and weed through all of the